whole thing was just absolutely traumatizing, and I don't ever want to do it again. Like, ever. And like, ever. Hey, we're Bryce and Rachel. We've been living in our self-converted off-grid schoolie for almost 3 years now, exploring the country and taking the road less traveled. We're all about the outdoors, hitting the trails, and discovering places off the beaten path. It's not always glamorous, but it's about pushing through, finding freedom on the road, and making this bus work for us no matter where we are. So if you're into honest, no-frills adventures, you're in the right place. Stick around, and we'll show you what life on the road really looks like. Rundown of where we've been the past few months, what's been going on in our lives. It's been a lot. There's been a lot going on. So we decided on a limb to buy some property, sight unseen, in Oklahoma. Our kids are getting to be school age, and Oklahoma has a lot more relaxed laws when it comes to homeschool. And so we decided that we're gonna relocate and become Oklahoma residents. So we got property over there, got all legal, got into the property. It took like a lot of work.
Just to get into the yard, it was a lot of work. We worked for like what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
At least, yeah, I think it was like 3 weeks of
and
like.
then we could actually like drive our bus in there.
Barely, yeah.
We went like 3 or 4 acres back into our property, and we had to hand cut it all and mow it with a little push mower and everything.
Yeah, it was hard work, but it was like rewarding and it was worth it. So we were living out there for like 6 months. We had everything set up. We got all the pumps we needed to transfer water and collect water and all of the stuff to live off grid, right? And I felt like we were thriving. We were doing great. We loved it. We were going to the library in town every week. We were like just thriving, living off grid. Our kids were loving it. But there was a lot of like bad animals, like spiders and snakes, like deadly shit that if our kid got bit by one, I would be traumatized.
There was some crazy animals out there. I killed a copperhead. I let a baby copperhead go. I threw him out in the woods, let him go.
And I think he came back.
He grew a little bit and came back. There's freaking.
But yeah, they were like right
tarantulas
where our kids were playing,
right in the yard all the time for some reason.
That made me feel uncomfortable. I didn't really like that part of it. But I mean, other than that, we were doing good. So on my birthday, I was turning 30, midsummer in Oklahoma, and we decided we were going to go to a creek. There's a creek down the road from where we live. We've been there before. It was fine. And what happened there, Bryce?
We were exploring. Me and Connor had seen a big watering hole area where it's got deep and nice and cold. And it was probably like not even a quarter mile in. So we were walking back there, and I was carrying my and I slipped and I couldn't catch myself because I had my and I busted a hole in my elbow, and I had to like lay there for a second because it knocked my wind out pretty good. And when I stood up, Rachel and Connor were like, "Oh my God, like your arm is fucked." So I was like, "So what do you guys think?" They're like, "Oh, we should definitely go to the hospital." We're not like the going to the hospital people. We'll like just glue it together ourselves, but it's like it was right on my elbow where it bent, and it was like split open.
It was like a gash.
It was split all the way in.
Like we could see the guts inside of his arm. I was like, okay, that's too much for us to fix at home.
Couldn't just glue it. So we went to the hospital, and
so we get to the hospital, and this guy comes out in cowboy boots, and we're like, oh, that's cool, you know, like hometown shit. We went to this local hospital where we were at, and
we're promising.
He's like, pretty much tells Bryce, like, man up and get some staples because stitches are gonna fall out. That we have numbing cream, but you're BITCH if you use it. It's pretty much what he said. So Bryce was like, all right, screw it, let's try it and see how it goes. So he went like got his gun and put a staple in his arm and stapled up his elbow. Mind you, they like cleaned it.
Yeah, they like soaked it in some like clean water or like saline or something. They just soaked it a little bit. And
she like squirted some stuff on it, but they didn't clean it very well.
And that was it. And then the dude came in to staple it and go
ahead. So he came in, did the one staple, and Bryce was like, all right, hurry up, do the rest. And he stapled him like 5 times total and sent us home with some antibiotics. And we told him like, this is really nasty, dirty creek water he fell in, and gave him the details. And he was like, yeah, it'll be fine. So we go home, and literally like 2 hours later, Bryce starts to like go downhill fast. Like
I got a fever. I felt like I was dying.
Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good at all. So like the night progressed, and he like literally kept me up all night, like getting up and down, going to the toilet. He was sweating. He was like all of the things that you don't want to feel. And we were like trying to chalk it up to the tetanus shot, because he got a tetanus shot because he fell in dirty water, and like 1 out of 100 people get sick from the tetanus shot. So I was like, well, maybe it's that, you know. And then Riley had swim classes the next morning, so we woke up in the morning and he still wasn't doing good, and I was like, all right, well, we're gonna give you a couple hours, we'll go to our class, and when we get back, if you're not like holding anything down, then we're gonna go to the hospital again. And he was like, okay. So we went to swim classes, got back, and he was worse. Okay, his elbow, you could actually like tell that it was infected by this point. It was like red and hot to the touch. Yeah,
like swell on my arm.
Yeah, it looked like something was wrong. Okay, so we're like, let's go back to the hospital. So we went back to the hospital, the same hospital as before, and he was like in so much pain, obviously, and he didn't sleep all night, so he was like, you know, not doing good already. And they came back and they were like, oh, he has severe sepsis and he needs to be transferred to Fort Smith, which is a bigger hospital. They can take better care of him. So they actually let me drive him to Fort Smith.
With an IV in each arm.
Yeah.
They had an IV in the big swelled up infected arm for some reason as well.
Yeah, they put one in both arms. They were nervous. They were trying, because we were just there, and we come back the next day, and his levels were like out of this world. So they were trying to get him fluids and antibiotics and just put him on something to try to like get his levels down, because he had like severe sepsis. They were like, this is an emergency. And when we were asking the doctor, we're like, what is this, like a couple-day thing? And he's like, you need to expect to be in the hospital for a while. And we were like, what? Like, what is he talking about?
He was talking about opening it up surgically and going in and cleaning it out and seeing what was going on and with the infection. And I was like, well, to avoid that, not knowing like how serious sepsis is, but I was like, well, to avoid surgery, can we see if the antibiotics that you guys got me on will do anything? He was like, yeah, absolutely. And so we gave it like 2 days, I think. Yeah, 2 days.
2 days, yeah.
And he went in again.
Well, no, it kept getting worse. So they were sitting there for the 2 days.
My arm kept swelling up a little farther and farther.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, look, we're gonna go in, because obviously we're not tackling the bacteria that is causing the problem. So we're gonna go in and clean it out. And that was the first surgery. And
when he got in there, he said it was way worse than he was expecting. Like, had he had known that this was what's going on, we would have had surgery a long time ago. His whole arm was like covered in abscess, and
yeah, he said it was really ate up real bad.
Yeah, really bad. So they put a wound vac on him and sent him back to the hospital room, and
he said he cleaned out like everything he could see, which is probably like 90% of it, and there's still that little 10% that the antibiotic has to take care of.
Yeah. So the way that the surgery was set up, it was every other day. So the first surgery was on the 13th. So day went by, it was on the 15th was the second surgery, and we were hoping that they were going to go in and everything was going to be better. The surgeon was like, oh, we should be good to go, super excited, you know, we're going to have good news. Yeah, like we should be done, right? Well, we don't know what happens until it's already done. So I didn't know what happened, if Bryce was going to, like, at this point we didn't know that losing his arm was like an option. So I didn't know if he was going to come out and be fine, or if he was going to come out with another wound vac, and we didn't know until they called. So the second surgery, he calls and he's like, it's not getting better. And we're like, what the heck is going on, right? They've got him on all these kinds of antibiotics, all these pain pills, like it should be working. Well, we wait another day, and now this is the 17th, so the third surgery, and he goes in, and it's still not better. Not getting better.
They're pumping me with all these antibiotics, and he's thinking that he's going to go in and it's going to be decent. And he's like, man, it's not doing what we think it's going to do. It's not just like stopping, it just keeps on going. And that was the third surgery. So that was kind of a downer.
So the thing is, he wasn't on the right antibiotics because they didn't know what the infection was. So in order for them to figure out
a cure-all antibiotic, like a basic.
Yeah, he was on the heaviest generic one that they could find because they didn't know what the bacteria was. So they had to wait from the first surgery because apparently the hospital didn't send in his stuff, his blood work. So from the first surgery, the cultures that grew on the abscess that was in his arm or whatever. That's when they got the results back, which wasn't until after the third surgery. So the third surgery happened, and it was not good again. So the doctor comes in and he tells us, like, bad news. It's the third time and it's still not improving. And he tells Bryce that you have the possibility of losing your arm and to, like, prepare yourself, because we can only go in so many times.
If they can't control it, they're gonna have to get rid of the arm so it doesn't go anywhere else.
Yeah, they weren't able to stop the bacteria from spreading. He said every time it goes in, it's just getting worse. So that same night, it was like midnight, and he had an infectious disease doctor on the case, because obviously this is some crazy shit that they've never seen before. And the doctor comes in and he's like, look, we finally have a break in the case. Like, he was so excited to tell us.
He said it's he said it's a very, very rare thing. He hasn't seen it since 2008 when he was in, like, medical school studying. And that it turns out that they know what antibiotic will treat this bacteria specifically.
It's like an A-rod or something.
It's only an oral antibiotic, sorry.
Okay, so, but with his surgeries going under, the correct antibiotic that they had to give him, they couldn't give him because they were afraid of medicine toxicity because of the anesthesia that he was getting while he was going under. So they were able to, like, give him
the vancomycin, all the basic
the right kind
coveralls
that will cover the A-rod bacteria, but it wasn't the particular one that he needed. He didn't get that until we got out of the hospital. But so the third surgery comes in midnight, tells us, hey, we're going to switch your antibiotics. We figured it out.
Finally found
like,
what it is.
We're
Here's an oral
hopefully,
antibiotic.
pray to God, things are on the up and up. And next time we go in another 2 days, that will be good. So come the 19th of this month, we go back in for surgery. And we finally have good news. They finally said it's looking better. It's not done yet, but it's looking better.
They left the wound back in just to suck any excess.
This is the fourth surgery, mind you, the fourth surgery. Can we just take a second to talk about how disturbing this was for our whole family? Like, we literally lived an hour away, okay? We live off-grid, so we need Bryce there, okay? The guy comes in and he's like, oh, he's dying. He doesn't say that, but that's severe sepsis. It's like, you're this close to your organs shutting down. Guess, like, you're on your way,
they kept,
you know?
Like, seeing if I was with it, asking me questions to make sure I'm not, like, shot out or confused. And
I have to choose
making sure my kidneys are still functioning before they shut down. And luckily nothing happened. I didn't get delirious or any kind of organ damage.
So, and it was hard for me because I felt like I had to choose between my children or Bryce, who literally needed my help to go to the bathroom. Like, he was so sick and literally dying. Like, it was so sad to watch, but I had to, like, be away from the kids. We both had to be away from the kids for the first time ever. We've never been away from our children, and we had to, like, be there for each other, and it was just really sad. And Connor was here visiting. Oh, luckily. My gosh. Bryce's son, he lives in Florida with his mom, and he came up to visit us, and I'm so grateful that he was here because we couldn't have done it without him. But it was just really traumatizing for everybody.
Because of the whole incident, he ended up extending his whole stay like over a week and hung out and helped with his sisters. Oh my God. He hung out with me in the hospital when Rachel wanted to go home.
It was a lot. Yeah, I was
at pretty great
the hospital for days and days and days, sleeping on this shitty cot, and I was exhausted and I was distraught, and they're telling me that my boyfriend's gonna lose his arm, and Miley was afraid of it. Like, the whole thing was just absolutely traumatizing, and I don't ever want to do it again. Like, ever. And, like, ever. It was horrible. It was horrible. But, so, we going into surgery for the 5th time. Things are on the up and up. We're all in good spirits. We have everybody around the freaking world praying for us. Literally, everybody came together on Instagram for us, and I could not be more grateful. I contributed to everybody putting out good vibes everywhere, and it just literally saved Bryce's arm and life. So we go in for the 5th surgery, and the doctor's like, it's a fucking miracle. Like, everything is looking good. We're going to be able to close him up, and he should be good to go. I mean, he might have arthritis in his arm when he gets older, but he's going to survive, and everything should be great.
The actual doctor, not the surgeon, the doctor came in. She was like, oh, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. Your finger's feeling good. Everything works. Well, we can get you out of here today.
We were like,
damn, I just got out of surgery like 2 hours ago.
So. It was crazy, but they already, like, they had discharge papers from the 2nd surgery. Like, they were trying to get us out of there, but it just wasn't improving.
And when I got out, I could go get the other antibiotic, which was another 2 different oral antibiotics, which were what actually, like, targeted it and like killed it off
So
completely.
when he got out, he was on 3 antibiotics. He was taking 15 pills in a 12-hour span, and it was absurd. But the 2 weeks went by, so here we are. We're back out of the hospital. We went straight home to our property, and we get to our property, and we're like, okay, we're gonna try to live off grid with one arm. Okay, mind you, his whole arm was like casted up.
I was in a 30-degree.
Well, I'll put a picture here. He had a cast on his arm, and obviously he can't do anything. They don't want him sweating. They don't want him moving his arm. So we get home, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna try to mow the yard because it's like overgrown. It's been 2 weeks since anybody's been there. It's a disaster. Like our bus is it's just
The grass and weeds are like literally
overgrown,
2.5 feet tall.
Yeah, like we worked hard to get these down, and
it
then
rains for 2 days, and you got a jungle.
Let it go, right? So I'm like, I'm gonna mow this yard, and I got like 2 passes in. Oh, I actually did like the backyard, and then I got to the front, and I broke the mower. It came right off, and I was like, you know what? I think this is a sign. Like, we waited a couple more days. It was rough. It's rough
our other
living off
friends
grid.
out there were trying to leave.
They're about to have a baby. Well, they had a baby.
They had a
so
fresh newborn baby coming, so
it's like, so they went to the campground, and then we were out there after we got out of the hospital, and we were like,
we were just
struggling. We went from like thriving to struggling, and I was like,
my parents had to like work twice as hard just to get their own water because they were like, oh, I'll get you water too, and it was just like way too much work for everybody.
Yeah, I was like, we can't do this. So, and also being like off grid isn't the cleanest thing to do, especially when you just got out of surgery and stuff. So I was like, let's just go to the campground. Our friends just moved there. Us and Judy, Bryce's parents, I'm like, we're all ready to take a break. We've just like went through a traumatic experience.
It was full water hookups. They have shower.
Oh, it was
laundry,
awesome.
Water and sewer hookups, electrical,
brand new
everything.
playground. It's
for a killer deal.
Nice, yeah,
insane deal.
So we're like, let's just go. We're gonna go to the campground, and also it was closer to the doctors because Bryce had doctor's appointments after her surgery.
Oh my God, there was like every other 2 days I had to go to the doctor.
Yeah, it was crazy. So we did all the doctor's appointments, and everything was going good. And they took the cast off after 2 weeks.
Insert picture, right?
Yeah, we'll put the gross picture of Bryce's stitches here. And then they told him to like slowly work on it, slowly start to move it. And this whole time we were living in the campground with our best friends across the road and his parents right next to us. It was awesome. The kids were playing. It was great. We really liked it. But we were ready to hit the road again. So we went to his doctor's appointments. Bryce started exercising his arm.
I was like doing this stuff myself because they were talking about having to do physical therapy if I didn't move it on my own, just to get it to where I can fully bend all the way back, all the way out, everything normal.
We come up to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. If you've never been here, you're absolutely missing out. It's one of our favorite places ever to come with our bus.
It's like September and we're dressed up like this, if that tells you anything.
It's a little chilly today, but tomorrow it's supposed to be like 70s. So, but we found this awesome campground. But anyway, so wait, we come up to the UP every summer, and we go to the state fair, typically with our friends, us on a bus, Joe and Monica. We love them. But, so we came up this year and hung out with them at the fair. It was super fun, and it's also around Riley's birthday. We hang out at Timmy's, and then we just kind of explore a little bit. But we have, we just wanted to like get on here and catch up and like let you guys know what the heck has been going on and how the whole experience.
We went from like driving around to completely nothing to back to traveling around, and nobody knows what happened in between. Now you do.
Yeah, it was really crazy, and we were just kind of like dealing with it and like.
But after I could figure out I can move it all the way myself, it's like nothing happened.
Yeah, we're good.
It's not.
I mean, it's like sensitive and stuff, obviously.
Yeah, weird like sensations and weird no sensations.
But it moves, and he has his arm, and he has his life, and now I want to put him in a bubble because I'm afraid that he's going to get an infection again. Apparently, if you get sepsis, you're like super susceptible to get it again, so that's awesome. But, so we're just excited, and I feel like maybe that was a sign that
carry a bottle of hydrogen peroxide
off-grid
around.
right now for us is not what we're supposed to be doing because we're really enjoying being on the road.
Well, off-grid in one spot, I guess, is not really for us.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
on the road.
We're off-grid all the time. But, yeah, off-grid on our own property where there's snakes
right now.
and spiders.
It's beautiful out here.
Yeah. So we're in the UP right now, and we're not really sure our plan. We're going to hang out here until it's too cold and we have to go. If you're still watching this video, you're a champ. But
props to you.
We're going to sign off. That's where we've been. That's what we're doing. We don't know what's going on or what's happening next, but we're grateful to be together and grateful that Daddy's okay. So thanks for watching, And don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.